Hello everyone, Jace here. So tomorrow the new Duel Links box comes out, main box Solflare Lightning, so I'll be reviewing it in this video. So it introduces a couple new archetypes, and some support for some existing archetypes. So yeah, let's first go over a couple of the one-off cards, and then I'll start reviewing the archetypes. So first up, I'm gonna review, well, Compulse is a one-off card, but it's already in a selection box, so we already know how good it is. But first, let's go with Kurikara Divine Carnate. So this card is cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by tributing all face-up monsters on the field that activated their effects this turn, and gains 1500 attack for each monster attributed to special summon this card. During your end phase, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field. So this card is situational. The biggest problem is that your opponent needs to be running a deck that actually has monsters that activate on your turn, which not every deck does. Not every top deck does either. It might be good to counter like cards. It is decent like to counter like decks that put up like one negate, like Phantom Knights. You can if they use up their negate, you can just drop this on them, a 3k beater. It's not that bad, but like overall it's just kind of situational, which makes it not super great for ladder. Next up is Rebellion. During either player's battle phase, target one monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end of the battle phase. Also, other monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn. So this card is okay. Like, it's during either player's battle phase, so you could potentially steal like a huge monster and beat over them with it. And during your opponent's turn, you can steal one of their monsters to protect yourself. But other than that, it's just kind of meh. Just because you only keep it till the end of the battle phase. And it's not like we have a main phase too. Even if you were able to keep it until end of the end phase, you still won't be able to like use it. So yeah, it's just kind of situational. Next up, Crusadia Power. Target one Crusadia monster you control. That Crusadia monster is unaffected by card effects this turn except its own. You can only activate one Crusadia Power per turn. So I think this is the only Crusadia card in this set. But yeah, it's an insanely strong card. It's basically just Forbidden Lance for the entire archetype. It is hard once per turn though, so you could break up multiples if you do run more than one copy, but I think it's still worth it to run maybe like 2 or 3 copies. Next up, I think this is a standalone card for the Utopia archetype. So Utopia the Lightning. It requires 3 level 5 light monsters, but you're never summoning it that way. The way you're summoning it is going to be, you can also Xyz this monster using one rank 4 Utopia monster you control as Xyz material. Cannot be used as Xyz material for an Xyz summon, and if this card battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. Once per chain during the damage calculation in either player's turn. If this card battles an opponent's monster while this has a Utopia Xyz monster as Xyz material, you can detach 2 Xyz material from this card. This card's attack becomes 5,000 during that damage calculation only. So this card is absolutely insane. You just summon it, it goes up to 5,000 attack and beats over any monster basically. So yeah, this is definitely worth picking up even if you don't care about the main archetypes in this box. Compulse already does that though, but like if you don't care about it, if you already have your Compulses, this is still worth at least going to the box once to try to pick up one of these. You can get 2 uses out of it if you summon a Utopia and then a Utopia Ray on top of it and then Utopia Lightning. So that's also another thing, but typically you're just going to summon Utopia and then this one, because you only really need to use it once. But yeah, still, insane card, just completely outs any boss monster. Let's see, next up, I think this is the only Automat card, Automata Pickup. When this card is activated, you can add one Automat card from your deck to your hand, except Automata Pickup. You can target one Zubababa, Gaga, or Go-Go-Go, or Dododo. Man, what a mouthful. Monster you control. All monsters you currently control become that monster's level until the end of this turn, and you can only use this effect of Automata Pickup once per turn, and you can only activate one Automata Pickup once per turn. So, this is really good. So you use this to search any Automat card, but you're mostly going to be searching either Utopic Onomatopoeia or Onomatopoeia, I think it's the one with the search spell for all the Onomot decks that you discard a card and you get 2 of them. Yeah, this searches that. So basically, it's a searcher for your searcher, which makes the deck even more consistent. And maybe it could push the deck to meta relevance. Back to the front was a selection box card, so we already know it's good. Security Dragon was also a selection box card. Actually, Back to the Front wasn't that good, but like, Security Dragon is okay, it's niche. Oh, no, there's Utopia Buster. This isn't good. If you control a face-up Utopia monster, destroy one face-up monster your opponent controls with the lowest attack, and if you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the destroyed monster's attack. It's just Fissure. It's just bad. It's like more situational Fissure. Don't run that. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it for all the solo cards I really want to cover. Actually, no, there are a couple cards. Not this one. There are a couple cards here. Imperial Custom is weird. Face-up continuous trap cards can't be destroyed except this card. You can only control one of it, so that way you can't have, like, 2 Imperial Customs. No, wait. They wouldn't protect each other anyway, but whatever. Yeah, you can only control one of this. Not like you'd want to control more than one, but it's kind of weird. Maybe someone could make a deck that needs to rely on that, like, this helps. Maybe like a trap monster deck. They use continuous traps. This could help, but it's just kind of eh. Couple more floodgates. A traffic control is if your opponent controls 3 or more monsters, they cannot declare an attack. This one would be good. Like, it's decent. The problem being that every deck basically runs Nightmare Phoenix, so this is just super easy to out. I mean, I guess if you get this up with 0/0 Rock, your opponent cannot target face-up attack position monsters with 0 attack for attacks. Maybe it'd be decent, but like that also requires you to have a 0 attack monster, and your opponent just can't remove like a monster either. So yeah, these cards are just kind of interesting, but not very good. Next up, another 2 cards I want to review. Number 13, Embodiment of Crime, and number 13, Embodiment of Punishment. I think they're pretty much the same thing. Yeah, they're pretty much the same like card. Basically, if you control the other one, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects while it has Exceeds material, and your opponent takes any damage you would take from attacks on this card. So basically, let's see. And they also share the effect where you can detach a material, and your opponent must attack into these cards if able. So it's okay. If you can get like a level 1 deck, potentially, you can make a silly like OTK combo using your opponent's monsters, because these things have low attack. They're basically Amazonius swordswomen's. But yeah, they're kind of interesting. I don't think they'll be good, but they're just kind of there. But now that we're over with most of the solo cards, let's actually review. Actually, I think Galaxy, the main box card. Actually, no, it does have 2 cards, but I will be starting with Galaxy Solflare Dragon, which requires 2 light monsters, including a monster with 2,000 or more attack. If this card is Link summoned, you can target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster in your graveyard, add to your hand, and during your opponent's main phase, you can discard 1 Photon card and 1 Galaxy card, or discard 1 Galaxy Photon Dragon, then target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls, destroy it. So it's a decent card. Like, you can set this up going first as an interruption as a quick play pop. That's not too bad. You basically have to use Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon for it though. I don't know if it slots in perfectly with the current Galaxy Eyes deck that still uses the skill, but like, it's an okay boss monster still. Like, if you for a different thing, it does replace Photon Lord because they got rid of that on the skill. But yeah. And next up is Galaxy Trance. Pay 2,000 life points to target 1 Photon monster in your graveyard, special summon both it and 1 Galaxy monster from your deck with the same level both in attack defense position, and if you do, each monster's attack becomes 2,000. Also, their effects are negated. You can only activate 1 of these per turn, and you can't normal or special summon monsters during the turn you activate this card, except Photon and Galaxy monsters. So this card is pretty good. It's completely searchable off of... actually, it's in the artwork. I think it's Galaxy Wizard. Yeah, so this is pretty good. You just summon Galaxy Wizard, search this, activate the skill to dump one from a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from deck, then special summon maybe another Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. Just go into the Link 2. That's not too bad. I mean, that gives the deck more an actual play turret going first now. But yeah, not pretty decent combo, and I'm pretty sure that's like pretty much it for the Galaxy Eyes stuff. Despite being the cover card, it's really only getting 2 cards. I don't see anything else. Like I checked the set list before doing this review, but yeah, no, there is no other Galaxy Eyes cards in this set. So despite being the face of the set, it's not doing too much. But next up, we're going to be going over Magistus. So first up, Zoria, the Magistus Flame. You can target one Magistus monster you control, equip it with one Magistus monster from your extra deck. If this card becomes equipped with a Magistus monster card, you can special summon one level 4 spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, except another copy of itself, but its effects are negated. So yeah, this one's kind of okay. The entire Magistus gimmick is equipping their own extra deck monsters to themselves, and then eventually they can build up to like equip their opponent's extra deck monsters to themselves, which is kind of weird, but like, it's fine, I guess. Next, Riliona, the Magistus Severe. So this is, I don't know the lore. I think it's either Veer, back to being an adult, because these are all cards from the past, or it's Veer's mother, maybe. But yeah, that's the lore if you want it. If this card is normal special summon, you can activate one of these effects, add one Magistus spell trap from your deck to your hand, return one of your banished level 4 or lower spellcaster monsters to your graveyard, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one Magistus monster you control, equip it with one Magistus monster from your graveyard, except a level 4 monster. So that except level 4 monster is kind of weird, but I think it basically just limits you to just the extra deck monsters, which are fine if you can dump them into the extra deck, the graveyard. The main effect is still pretty good, searching any Magistus spell trap. They do have a couple decent Magistus spell traps, so yeah. Veer is definitely a 3 of, and so is Zoria. And next up is Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden. This is going to be your main one you're going to want to equip most of the time, but there are a couple other ones that you want to equip as well. If another Magistus monster is normal special summon while you control this monster, you can target one of those monsters, equip this card you control to it, and while this card is equipped to a monster, you can add one Magistus monster from your deck to your hand, and you can only use Artemis once per turn, and you can only special summon Artemis once per turn. So yeah, this is really strong. Your plays are basically, to get started, you summon Zoria. Even if you don't have anything in the graveyard, you equip Artemis, and you can get to search a monster. That's basically your main play. And next up are some more Magistus from our rarity. Crowley, the Magistus of Grimoires, I think that's how you pronounce it. You can send one spellcaster monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, declare one attribute, this card becomes an attribute until the end of this turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Magistus monster you control, equivalent with a Magistus monster from your graveyard except a level 4 monster. So yeah, Crowley is decent. It's like an okay extender maybe. It also, this is young Alistair, and it does work with the Invoke deck, because you can normal summon Alistair, special summon Crowley, change this attribute to whatever you need, and special summon, use Invocation to special summon whatever fusion you need. So I guess that's kind of funny, but otherwise, it's okay. You might want to run like a couple of them, like 1 or 2 of them, just because it's searchable. Next up, Endymion, the Magistus of Mastery. Target one Magistus monster you control, equip it with one Magistus monster from your extra deck. Target one face-up spell you control, destroy it, and if you do, draw one card. Then place one card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. This is also another play starter that you probably want to run 3 of, so that way, like, it's the other one, like Zoria, that actually does this from on-field, because Crowley and Veer do it from the graveyard. But yeah, and here's a couple more, the rest of the Magistus monsters you can equip. And the first up is Awise, the Magistus Spell Spirit. While this card is an equip monster, the equip monster gains 1000 attack and defense. And during the main phase quick effect, you can target one face-up monster on the field, equip this card you control to it, and if this card was equipped to an opponent's monster by this effect, take control of that opponent's monster. So yeah, it's a pretty good monster steal. Requires a Magistus and a Spellcaster. The spell card you're going to use to summon it is pretty searchable, and I'll go over that later. Next up is Varim, the Magistus Divinity Dragon. While this card is an equipped card, the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by your opponent's spell or trap card effects. And you can only use the following effects of Varim, the Magistus Divinity Dragon, once per turn. If this Synchro Summon monster is destroyed, destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls. At the start of the damage step of this card, if the monster this card is equipped to battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. So it basically turns any of the Magistus monsters into like a Catastor, but for every monster. So yeah, it's decent. You're probably going to want to actually summon it though, just because of that first effect. If you can trigger it yourself with your own cards that destroy your own monsters. So yeah, pretty good card. Definitely run some of them in the extra deck. Next up is Nine Ruru, the Magistus Glass Goddess. It requires 2 level 4 Spellcaster type monsters, and while this card is an equipped card, the equipped monster can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. You can only use each of the following effects of Nina Ruru, the Magistus Glass Goddess, once per turn. Detach 1 material from this card, target 1 level 4 or higher monster in your graveyard, add to your hand. And while this card is equipped to a monster, you can target 1 Magistus card in your spell trap zone, and 1 spell trap your opponent controls, destroy them. So its equip effect is meh. It just destroys back row, which is fine, I guess. And the recycling is only okay. I guess you might still want to run one of these. Oh, it also gives you double attack, so maybe that you can use that somehow. But yeah, decent card. Next up are some of the spell traps you can search with Veer. Target 1 Magistus monster you control. Equip it with 1 Magistus monster, except a level 4 monster from your extra deck, graveyard, or face-up field. And if you have at least 1 of each Magistus Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link in your graveyard, you can equip it with 1 non-Magistus Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link from your extra deck instead. So that second effect is kind of weird. I don't really get it. I don't know what like outside of archetype thing you would equip. But the first effect is good. It's just like if you open with Crowley or Veer, this is another way to actually get your play started with equipping the Artemis. But yeah, pretty decent card. It's searchable off of Veer. Next up is Magistus Invocation. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from the hand or field as materials, including a spellcaster monster. And if you're summoning a Magistus Fusion monster this way, you can also use monsters in your spell trap zone that are equipped to a Magistus monster. So yeah, this card is pretty good. If you search this with Veer, you can use some of your equips, like you can use potentially an equipped Nini Ruru or something. But yeah, you probably want to run at least a couple of these just so you can actually summon it wise and use its monster effect, because its monster effect is absolutely insane of stealing a monster. Next up is Magistus Vritra. I think that's how you pronounce that. Target 1 level 4 or lower Magistus monster in your graveyard, special summon it. And if Magistus card in your spell trap card zone would be destroyed by an opposed card effect, banish this card from your graveyard instead. So yeah, in archetype, Monster Reborn, so it's pretty decent. Definitely run a couple of these. And I think that was pretty much it for Magistus from what I saw before I started this review. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else. So next up, the other archetypes in this deck, this box, I'll be going over S-Force, which is a new archetype. So first up is S-Force Rappa Chiyomaru. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters can only attack that monster for attacks. Quick effect, you can banish 1 S-Force card from your hand, return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon 1 S-Force monster from your deck in defense position, except itself. And you can only use this one once per turn. So Chiyomaru is definitely a 3-of because it helps you get out your higher level ones from the deck, but it definitely does hurt banishing monsters from your hand. Especially since they don't have effects like when they get banished like some other decks. But yeah, and all the S-Force cards have some sort of weird like floodgate, really bad floodgate if they're in the same column. If you put a monster in the same column as an S-Force. Next up is the field spell that you're gonna definitely need. When this card is activated, add one S-Force monster from your deck to your hand. So just searches all your monsters. And when an opponent's monster declares an attack on your S-Force monster in the same column, you can activate this effect. That monster you control cannot be destroyed by that battle. And you can only use this effect of S-Force Bridgehead once per turn. This one, honestly, I don't think the second effect would be even that good, even if it was like maybe twice per turn or something. But yeah, this definitely combos well with Chiyomaru's weird Floodgate effect, and you definitely gonna need to run 3 of these. Next up is S-Force Justify, which is the main boss monster. It's a Link 3 with all upward pointing arrows. It requires 3 effect monsters, including an S-Force monster. So if you can sort of use an engine to help get it out. And you cannot special summon / set monsters to the zone discard points to. That only affects you, by the way. So it doesn't affect your opponent. They can still summon whatever they want to the arrows that this card points to. They probably don't want to though, because of a different effect, which I'll point out later, because there's another effect. Quick effect. You can target one face-up effect monster your opponent controls, negates effects until the end of this turn, then you can move that opponent's monster to their monster zone discard points to. So it's a decent card, negates a monster effect, and then moves it to set up for this other effect, which at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks, you can banish all monsters it cards points to. So yeah, you can potentially get a +2 out of this if you can get both the 2 monsters to get under their zones. And with Duel Links' limited zones, they're pretty much forced to sometimes summon to one of these zones. So yeah, pretty decent card if you can get it out, which is going to be the main problem with S-Force, as you'll see with the rest of the cards. So next cards are S-Force Gravitino. This card is a level 5, which really sucks. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters is banished when it leaves the field. Pretty weird, like, it's like a weird Floodgate, not super great, but you're going to use it mostly for this main effect. If this card is normal special summon, you can add one S-Force card from your deck to your hand, so it searches your entire lineup. So this is the main one you're going to probably summon off of Chiyomaru, because you do need to search everything from your archetype. Next up is Platina, S-Force Platina. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters loses 600 attack. If this card is normal special summon, you can target one of your banished S-Force monsters, special summon it. So this is okay, it does help you swarm the field after Chiyomaru's effects. But, like, these cards are good effects, the problem being that they're just on level 5 or higher, which really suck. Next up, S-Force Edge Racer. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters cannot be used as material for the Link summon a Link 3 or higher. I'm not sure what that floodgates, but maybe it floodgates something relevant. If this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon one S-Force monster from your hand in attack position, except S-Force Razor. So yeah, this one actually is pretty good because it's level 4 at least, so it's another way to help get out your Gravitinos or your Platinas. So yeah, definitely run a couple of these. Next up, S-Force Chase. This is probably what you're going to be searching off Gravitino most often. Target face-up cards your opponent controls, up to a number of S-Force cards, S-Force monsters you control with different names, return them to the hand, so it just compulses, potentially multiple compulses. So yeah, very good card. Its second effect is also pretty good if an S-Force monster you control would banish a card from your hand to activate its effect, basically Chiyomaru. You can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So yeah, pretty good card. Definitely want to run a couple of these. And next up is the N rarity ones, which are, I'm gonna be honest, I read through them, they're not very good. Maybe you'll run a couple of these, but maybe not. Oh, I missed Trismegistus. Another Magistus card. First time each Magistus monster equipped with a equipped card would be destroyed by battle to its turn, it is not destroyed, and you can only use one of these effects per turn. During main phase, you can special summon one level 4 spellcaster type monster from your hand, and you can send this face-up card to the graveyard, special summon any number of Magistus monsters with different names from your hand. So it's like an okay card. It does help you get out more monsters from your hand. Basically just a Valhalla. But yeah, probably run maybe like 1 or 2 of these, because it's Surge of Valhalla here. Okay, now back to the S-Forces. Digamma is during each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as your S-Force monsters cannot change their battle position, which is such a low impact effect. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change its battle position. Yeah, no, I think you can sort of see the combo they're going with, but this basically doesn't support the archetype at all. I would not run Gamma. Next up, Aurifist. Your opponent can't target any of their monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters with card effects. Don't think that's relevant. I guess this sort of counters Magistus because most of them target their own monsters, but that's a weird floodgate. And when your monster your opponent controls activates effects, quick effect, you can banish one S-Force card from your hand, destroy that monster. That second effect is okay, but like, it doesn't negate the effect, which is kinda sucks. Next up, another S-Force spell trap, S-Force Showdown. If you see in the artwork, Time Thief Redoer is in this artwork. I don't think we have Time Thieves yet, but that might be relevant later. Activate one of the following effects. Special summon one S-Force monster from your hand in defense position, or target one S-Force monster in your graveyard, add to your hand. So yeah, this card's kind of weird. It does help you get out the level 5 or higher ones, and the recycling is kind of okay, but it being a hard one for turn means we're probably going to brick on it if you run like more than 1 or 2 of these. Next up, S-Force Specimen. If your opponent controls a monster, target one of your S-Force monsters that are banished or in your graveyard, special summon it to your zone in the same column as that opponent's monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one S-Force monster you control, and move that target to one of your other main monster zones. This card's kind of okay, I guess. Like, if you can recover some of your banished S-Forces, which are fine. I know it's supposed to set up like the floodgate effects, but the floodgate effects are so bad that it doesn't really matter. And let me just check if that's it for S-Force. I think that's it for S-Force. So yeah, overall S-Force is kind of weird. The main thing is you want like Turbo to justify as soon as possible, but like the rest of the cards just basically do not help too much facilitating with that. But yeah, if you can get Justify out, it's a decent deck. Other than that, it's not super great. Next up, I'm going to go over the Chronomaly cards. I'm saving Orcus for last, basically, because they're the best archetype. But first up is Chronomaly Vimana, I think that's how you pronounce it. So it requires 2 level 5 monsters, so it's completely generic. And once per turn, quick effect, target one face-up monster on the field and one Xyz monster or one Chronomaly monster in your graveyard. That monster on the field gains half the attack of that monster in the graveyard until the end of this turn. Then attach that monster from the graveyard to this card as material. And once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, detach 2 materials from this card and negate that activation. So yeah, the first effect is pretty good for buffing your own monsters or for setting up Machu Mech. But the first effect's not really the main thing. The second effect is where it's all out. Negating an effect just from rank 5 is really strong. Definitely worth checking out. Even if you run any like level 5 focus deck, you definitely want to dig this box for this card, just because it's completely generic. Next up on Chronomaly list is Chronomaly Crystal Chrononaut. I can't believe we didn't have this before because it's not super great. 2 level 3 monsters, and once per turn when this card is targeted for an attack, detach 1 Xyz material from this card. This turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. And also your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card. So the biggest problem is that it's 2100 attack. So that's not super great for like an Amazon Swordswoman effect. I guess it's fine for protection, but like it's not super great. Next up, Chronomaly Gordian Knot. This card, when normal summoned, special summon 1 Chronomaly monster from your hand, and if you do, that monster's level becomes the current level that's this card's level becomes the current level of that special summon monster. So this does help you get out some of the weirder ranks, like the rank 5s, if you don't have like completely matching ranks. But even then, I feel like Chronomaly Neberdix does that better because that's a skill. The Chronomaly skill does like put your monster to the same level anyway. It's still probably worth running maybe a couple of them. It does like conflict with the normal summon with Neberdisc, but that sort of doesn't matter with another card that's also in this box. That's it for the rares. Let me just scroll down to find it. Where is it? Well, let's go over Chronomaly Cult also head first. Banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 level 3 or higher attack position monster in the field, changes the face up or face down defense position. This is just not good, don't run it. That's all I gotta say about that one. But yeah, where is the last Chronomaly card? There it is, Chronomaly Temple Trilithon. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are Chronomaly monsters, pay 500 life points, sorry. Not 5,000, that's on Cyberstein. Immediately after this effect resolves, normally summon one Chronomaly monster from your hand, and if a Chronomaly or number exceeds monster you control would be activated effect by detaching materials, you can send this card to a graveyard instead of one of those materials. So yeah, this is extra normal summon, pretty good for the deck. That's really all I gotta say about that. I did miss a couple Gaga cards. Gaga back. During the turn of Gaga, monster control was destroyed by... Okay, no, never mind. This one's really bad. I'm just gonna skip over the rest of them because they're not very great. But yeah, that's it for Chronomaly. So overall, the support is pretty good. Vimana is definitely the main thing. This Gordian Knot's okay, and so is the Continuous Spell. But yeah, if you're a Chronomaly player, you're probably gonna have to dig through this box. And lastly, I saved the best for last, is the Orcust cards. I do not know what Konami is thinking, releasing pretty much all of them. We're only missing the Counter Trap and Dingirsu. Not Dingirsu, Girsu, the level 4 one play starter. Other than that, this is going to be an insane deck, so I'm going to read them and I'm going to tell you why they're insane. And you can probably figure them out yourself, probably. So first up, Galatea the Orcus Automaton. It only requires 2 effect monsters, including at least one Orcus monster. And if this link card cannot be destroyed by a battle, so decent protection overall. Its arrows are pretty bad for Duel Links, but that's still fine. Target one of your banished machine monsters, shuffle it into the deck, then you can set one Orcus spell trap card directly from your deck. You can only use this effect of Galatea once per turn. So yeah, this is insane. It sets your entire spell trap lineup. And we just got the field spell, Orchestrated Babel, which turns all your Orcus monsters into quick effects from the card trader. So yeah, insane card. Next up, Dingirsu, the Orchestra of the Evening Star. It's completely generic 2 level 8 monsters. You can only special summon 1 per turn. And you can also Xyz summon this monster using an Orcus Link monster you control. So you're probably stacking this on top of Galatea most of the time. And if a card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, detach 1 material from this card instead. And if this card is special summoned, you can activate one of these effects. Send one card your opponent controls to the graveyard, or attach one of your banished machine-type monsters to this card's material. This combos extremely well with Orcus Symbol Skeleton, which we already have. So if you put this in the graveyard, you can Orcus Symbol Skeleton off quick effect with the field spell, summon this back, and as a quick effect, you send one of your opponent's monsters you control to the graveyard. Absolutely insane card. And even if you're not running Orcus, you'll probably still want to grab one of these if you're a level 8 focus deck, just because a non-targeting, non-destruction removal is just really strong. Next up, it's gonna be Longirsu, the Orcus Orchestrator. 2 plus effects monsters, including an Orcus monster, and this link card cannot be destroyed by card effects. With 2500 attack, that's a pretty good protection effect. You can target one of your banished machine-type monsters, shuffle them into the deck, then you can send one linked monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. So, it does have upward pointing arrows to facilitate that effect, that removal effect. It doesn't target also, as well, basically the same as Dingirsu. So yeah, definitely worth running a couple of these just because it's a bigger boss monster than Galatea, so you can deal more damage. Next up, that's it for the SRs, really? Okay. So next up, Orchestrion. So this is a Link 4. It requires 2 plus effect monsters, including an Orcust, and this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects when it's linked. You can target 3 of your banished machine-type monsters, shuffle them into the deck, and if you do, the attack and defense of any linked monster your opponent controls becomes 0, also their effects are negated. So it's kind of hard to bring out, and its effect is kind of hard to set up too as well, but I think you might still run one of these just because it's a decent finisher. Next up, one of the biggest mistakes Konami is going to release, Orcus Nightmare. Cannot be destroyed by battle with a link monster. That's not really the main thing. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up monster in your field. You cannot special summon monsters except dark monsters for the rest of this turn. Also send one dark machine-type monster from your deck to a graveyard except an Orcus Nightmare, and if you do, the targeted monster gains Attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard times 100. So it's mostly that second effect that makes it so strong, because it just dumps any Dark Machine, which includes all your Orcus, basically. And also, it's a Nightmare, so that means it's summonable off of Mermaid, and you can summon a Mermaid off of any Nightmare Link monster. So yeah, this is an absolute mistake. I don't know what Konami is thinking. So basically, all your combos are going to be started by us. You can start any of your combos with any 2 differently named monsters. So basically, summon maybe like a Neospace Connector, summon a Neospace Connector, special summon a Neospatian, make any Link 2 Nightmare, or turn that Nightmare into a Nightmare Mermaid, summon Orcus Nightmare, and then summon Galatea, and then your combos just completely go off. So yeah, complete mistake. I don't know what Konami is thinking releasing this card while Nightmare Mermaid is legal. But that's pretty much the main stuff of the Orcus. I'm not sure if everything else is just reprints or not. I think they might be. But yeah, Orcus, complete mistake. This is, even if you're, like, decks that can, pretty much every deck can run their Orcus engine. It does have a limit 1 and a limit 2, though, because of Nightmare and, Nightmare Mermaid and the Orchestrated Babel, but still. If you can summon any 2 monsters, you can maybe slot in an Orcus engine, which is just kind of insane. Yeah. So overall, this deck contains decent amount of support for old archetypes. Orcus is absolutely a mistake. That was probably going to be maybe like tier 0, potentially. Magistus is just kind of okay. I'm not really sure how strong that will be, because equip cells are always just kind of weird, and it's a kind of a weird equip archetype. And S-Force is just kind of not very great, I gotta say. But yeah, that's it for the what's it called? Really quick, Solflare Lightning box, main box. Definitely invest into this deck. Even if you're just not going for Orcus or any of the other archetypes, there are a bunch of good generic cards like Compulse, Utopia the Lightning, and like a couple other generic cards. But yeah. So yeah, comment down below what you think of this box, and like and subscribe if you want to see more Duel Links content. I'll see you guys later. Bye!